Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Urmi and today I have the pleasure to have someone special with me who will be talking about her teaching Spanish. Before we start, let me tell you a little bit about my special guest and who she is. So her name is Angela Blanco. She's the founder of Light Spanish, an online language school that provides a minimalistic way to master Spanish for busy professionals all over the world. With 7 years of experience in the language teaching industry in Spanish and English languages, Angela has developed a unique approach that emphasizes practical communication skills and a personalized learning experience using behavioral psychology principles. So, Angela, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here with me today.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah, well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Light Spanish. How did it start? How long have you been promoting Light Spanish? Tell us a little bit about Light Spanish.
Yeah, well, what you mentioned at the beginning is mainly the summary of what it is. We started sort of a year and a half ago. So I've been working on education my whole life. I mean, I love that aspect. And I used to be a music teacher. Then I jumped. When I was doing my career, I was a music teacher at the same time. Then when I finished it, my bachelor's, I started teaching Spanish. So I had this amazing experience of going to Jamaica to learn English and also teach Spanish. And since then, I decided that that's what I wanted to keep doing. I love languages, and then I work with coordinated programs in English. And then, of course, it jumped naturally to my mother tongue. So I continue with it. And after the pandemic and coming to live to the UK, I thought, well, let's do something that I own, something mine that I can create my own methodology and work on the things that I've noticed that work best in language learning. So yeah, it's been a great journey. I'm so happy to be able to have now something that belongs to me and that I've been developing. Is like my baby, so I'm very happy with it.
Yeah,
that's my story a little bit.
Yeah, I think I understand how you feel about that because I have my own blog and my own YouTube channel. So I like that sense of like ownership. It's like mine, and it's like no one can touch it. So you kind of like feel very fulfilled and satisfied when you have produced something of your own and you're not depending on someone else. So I understand how you feel about that. And tell us a little bit more about the services that you offer, like the kind of lessons that people can expect. Do you offer like individual lessons, group lesson? Is it speaking, reading? What exactly do you offer?
Yeah, well, our main service, let's say the one that people is going to see up front when they visit the website, is one-to-one sessions. So that has become our main mode of giving the sessions to the students. We have also some conversation clubs, but those are more related to the level of them. So I tend to move them to conversation clubs after I know them better. So from one-to-one, that's become the best way to do it. We manage online sessions only. We work online. That's what allow us to work with people from different countries. So yeah, that's the main service, and we're moving slowly to create more services and products, but that's a surprise that I have for this year. So yeah, it's getting there, but so far one-to-one.
One-to-one. And are they given by you, or do you have someone who provides the one-to-one services?
We already have a team, of course. For example, for me, being here in the UK, it's difficult to give lessons to people, for example, in Australia in certain times, or in the US or in Canada on certain times. I have a team that is located in a different part of the world that helps me. So the lessons that I don't give, they're giving them. So yeah, we're working already together but we have the same plan, the same goals, but definitely that allow us to feel the time zones as we want to.
Right. So I'm assuming your lessons are more like tailored to the needs of the student. So it's conversation, but I'm assuming that if the student has a particular need, like if they want to work on like, I don't know, grammar, do you guys do that, or is it just practicing speaking?
That's a great question. Well, that's what everything is about, and that's why I mentioned that we work on the principles of behavioral psychology, because yes, I tailor the lessons. We tailor the lessons, but are related to the people's learning styles, right? So it's not only like I like to talk about, I don't know, horses. So let's make a Spanish lesson about horses. It's not that type of tailor. Is more related to which skills you have. Maybe because you have developed them through your career, in your profession, or because, well, you're good at some things, you're better catching information in certain ways. So we use all of that. We create an assessment for each student, and according to that, we say, okay, this is what we're going to do for our plan, related to what you want to do. If it is for traveling, it's going to go through a certain way. And if it is for a profession, or they want to move to a Spanish speaking country, of course, it's going to change a little bit. But of course, the main path is built through what that person enjoys doing more, to keep the motivation for them. And yeah, with that we build their program. You mentioned the conversation or reading or etc. We work with all skills because of course all of them are crucial. Even I work, I did a big research on writing in language learning. That was my master's degree project. And yeah, we also include in the process writing skills, because that help us, not during the sessions because that would be nice, but it's part of the program that we build for the students. So yeah, we're working all skills. Grammar is important, but it's not like it's going to be about grammar, because grammar is just a tool for improving your communication and your confidence in the language. So yeah, that's what I could say about it.
And tell me a little bit, like, how do you assess the students' needs? Because I'm assuming that from the conversation that we had, I think people, when they first go to your website, I think there's a quiz that they can complete, and that's how you assess it, right?
Yeah, that's well, the quiz is like the first grasp that you can get from this type of assessment. So you're able to know your main superpower. I talk about the superpowers because that's mainly the thing, like what is going to be your biggest skill that is going to help you to acquire more information, because we know that learning a language is related to confidence and practice, but also there is a percentage of learning and memorizing words or structures or different things. So I talk about that superpower because that's going to help you to acquire that information nicely, and well, that's the way. But when a student becomes, I mean, when someone becomes our student, we get a full assessment. So we're able to know exactly like which ones are their superpowers. So the website gives you the main one, but you're able to know more about your skills when you join the school. Yep.
All right. Tell us a little bit about, for anyone who's like learning Spanish, what tips would you like to share? Like, let's say your top 3 or tips, or top 1 tip that you would like to share to anyone who's studying or learning Spanish.
Well, I think there are some main principles that are in all language learning processes. They're about curiosity and being patient and loving the process and knowing yourself. Definitely, that's our main pursuit, and is that people is going to be able to know themselves and to learn to learn. It sounds funny, but that's mainly the thing that could work for any language that you are learning, even for any new skill that you want to acquire. But in terms of Spanish, I would say, I mean, we're very lucky that we have so many countries that speak the language. So you have a huge variety of content, like written or video content or entertainment. So just keep connected to it and fall in love with something of it, right? If it's the music, find a musician or find a band, or I don't know, something that you really feel happy about. And those links, the more links you have with the language and with the culture, the easier it's going to be to acquire the language. So yeah, I would say that that's mainly the trick about the language itself. Just look at the main structures, the ones that we use more, because we have lots of times, tenses, and well, we have lots of things. But when you listen to Spanish speakers, we're not using all of them in all the context, right? Some of them are more written, or so I would recommend to Spanish students to pay more attention to what is going to be more useful for them in daily life. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just being spoken more and more nowadays, Spanish. Like even when I'm walking on the street, I hear a lot of people speaking Spanish. So it's becoming much more spread, definitely.
Yes.
And I think it's not like Spanish is a very beautiful language. It is, for anyone who doesn't know like any Latin languages, it can be a little bit difficult at the beginning because it's a little bit like Italian, a little bit like French. There are a lot of like grammar rules which you have to remember, right? So it can be difficult, but it's like how you said, you have to see like which one do you need. You have to pay attention to the expression. You have to really see, if you have to like basically surround yourself with a sort of like a community of people that speak Spanish. And I think that's how you can like learn a language as soon as possible and like speed up the whole learning process, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So since you are actually one of the first guests that teaches Spanish, and one of my first guests on my YouTube channel that teaches Spanish. So I wanted to ask you if you could share like a common Spanish expression.
Yeah. Well, now that you mentioned that, I was thinking at the same time that it's great that we have many countries that speak the language. The only difficult part about it is that we have so many different words depending on the region, right? So now that you mentioned this about the expressions, it reminds me the previous topic, and is don't worry too much about the slang, because the slang is very like geographical and is going to change depending on the place you are. So just focus on the main Spanish that is used in most of the countries. With that said, the expression that comes to my mind is one that we use in many countries in the Caribbean and the north of the South America. So it is chévere, que chévere.
Okay.
Chévere. And I mean, we use it for mentioning something that is cool, that is nice, that is great. So it's a happy one. And I always say, I use that word at least 10 times during the day. I mean, really. It's like, I love it. And it's great. So yeah, we use it in Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela, in Panama, in Cuba, Puerto Rico. You can listen it in the salsa music. You're listening to it everywhere. It's not used in the whole Latin America, but in many countries. So if you say chévere, people is going to smile at you because you're going to mention something that is positive, right? Like, that's nice, that's great, que chévere.
Yeah, you know
cool.
what? Yeah, it's so funny because I heard that expression because I used to work with some people that speak Spanish, so I would hear them saying it. And there was another expression that I would also hear, which was vale.
Ah, vale. Yeah, vale is all right. Okay. that's fine. Yeah,
Yes,
you can
yes,
use it. Or
yes,
even with when we make the equation, it's like, vale, like, is it all
yeah,
right with you? Is it okay with you?
yes. And
Very useful.
yes, and you're so right. I think also like depending on which part of like Latin America you come from, like even though there are so many countries speaking Spanish, depending on where you come from, you have like different expressions, you have different pronunciation, you have different words that are used. So like you're right about this. And it's the same thing with also like French. There is the French in France and there is a French in Montreal, which is also like different in a
Very
sense with
different.
different, yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, even the people from the United States and the people from Canada find
yeah,
different things, right? So it's like it's everywhere. Or now for me, the differences between the English from the United States and the one from the United Kingdom. So yeah, it's like there are going to be
yes,
some nuances, some differences, but of course the language is going to be understood in all those countries,
yes,
and yeah, that's
yes,
what
yes.
matters.
Yes, exactly. It applies, like you said, in English too. Yes.
Exactly.
So you said you are a Colombian. So you are Colombian living in the UK. So did you have any particular clash or maybe any funny story that you can share?
Um, well, there's been so many things in my life. Well, I would say that maybe learning the language, for example, speaking a foreign language, um, it's been, of course, the false friends and all this stuff that always plays with you. It comes to my mind one moment when I said to a lady, she was very, like, I don't know, dressing very nicely, and she had a beautiful necklace, and I like that type of things. I pay attention to that type of things, and I said something like, "Oh, you've got a beautiful color." Because in Spanish, collar is collar for dogs, and is also necklace. So for us, we just have one word for necklace and collar. And I say, "Oh, you've got a beautiful collar," and she looked at me like, she's a foreigner, you know. It's like she knows that I maybe was meaning something different. But of course, then someone pointed it out and say, "Oh, well, actually, we do." Yes, so I learned some things the hard way. That's it. And well, in the UK is the driving system, the streets being the other way around is a constant cultural shock
I
for
know,
me.
I know. I know how you feel about that. And the streets are really, really small, so tiny. And it's like a two-way street for some reason, but only one car is able to pass. And you have to stop to let the other car pass. And it's so interesting because I also feel like it's not just for cars, but it's also for buses, for people that are like
Yes.
cycling. Like it's incredible. Yeah.
And you have to look at the ground, because some places are just for buses, and if you step there by mistake, you're in trouble. So yeah, no, I mean, the system is amazing. I like it, but it's a new system, so it's like learning a new language for me in terms of driving. It's good fun.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Angela, for being on my channel today. This was so much fun. Before we go, do you mind sharing with everyone where can people find you?
Yeah, so well, you can go to lightspanish.com or lightspanish.co.uk. You can find the nice quiz that I have for the people, so that you can know their superpower and start knowing more about themselves. That works for any language that you're learning, by the way. You can use it for the language you're learning right now, because it's going to give you some good information. And I have my Instagram. That's the other place you can find me, and I'm posting constantly, and I'm giving some tips, or I'm sharing some things about my life and making quizzes. So that's at light.spanish. That's how you find me. Or you just type light Spanish, and I'm sure that I'm going to be there.
All right. Well, I will put everything in the description below so people can connect with you. And I want to thank you once again for being here on my channel. It was such a pleasure. And for everyone else, make sure to like and subscribe and comment. And I will see you all next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.